Hello folks, patch 11.17 will be releasing in just over a week from now on July the 17th for the US and the 18th for Europe. So let's dive in and take a look at everything that's coming up. The new patch is called Legacy of Arathor, and like the other 0.7 patches, it includes a brand new storyline campaign. This 2-chapter campaign will see Fair and Lothar join Danath Trollbane to travel to the Arathi Highlands, where they will try to avert some rising tensions between the Alliance and the Horde's Maghar Orc, in a continuation of the storyline that started in the Free Heartlands audio novel, which I will link in the description down below if you want to catch up. Blizzard normally uses these 0.7 patch storylines as a prologue to help set up the next major patch, and if they are following that pattern this time around, then I have to say that the story is going in a direction that I wasn't expecting. Also on the lore front is a brand new feature called Lorewalking. Player characters of level 10 and above will be able to speak to our old friend Lorewalker Cho in Stormwind, Orgrimmar and Donegal and choose between 3 different story options. Each of these story options consists of a fusion of old content quest lines, with usually a brand new quest line or scenario to provide a kind of catch-up story for some key moments for characters. The first of the storylines is Meet the Ethereals, which recaps the Ethereal storylines from Burning Crusade's Netherstorm, along with Illyria and Locust Walker's time in Argus, and a brand new quest line which confirms a link with another of the races that we have met during our journeys. The Xalatath option allows non-priests to experience the Shadow Priest's legendary acquisition quest from Legion, followed by the BfA Patch 815 storyline where we helped her escape the Blade, along with a brand new story which reveals how she ended up in that Blade in the first place. Completing this particular quest line awards a cool toy that will allow us to hear Xalatath's whispers in our ears anytime that we want. And the final option allows us to experience a cut down version of the Culling of Stratholme, one of the more iconic moments from Warcraft's lore, along with the Alliance's Frostmourne story from Wrath of the Lich King and the Fall of the Lich King in Icecrown, which we experience from Arthas' own perspective. All of these storylines can be done in the same character if you prefer, and Lorewalker Cho will be joining us as a narrator to add a little more context and some more cool little lore surprises. Speaking as a bit of a lore fan, this is a great way to recap important storylines and start to bring together some of the sometimes very fragmented lore experiences in game, and I do hope that this is something that we'll see being expanded upon in the future. Gameplay wise, the big feature of this patch is Overcharged Delves. I'm working in a full guide for this feature, which I will be releasing before the patch drops. If you don't want to miss out on that, then do hit subscribe if you haven't already, and drop me a follow on social media, links in the description, to make sure that you find out as soon as that goes live. 6 of the existing delves are getting additional adds and traps to increase the level of challenge, and during the PTR testing it appeared that 2 of the 4 bountiful delves would also become overcharged each day. The new mechanics are quite challenging when you encounter them for the first time, although I did find that once you get used to them, I was able to deal with them fairly easily. To help us with that, there is also a brand new upgrade tree which will allow us to obtain a series of delve-only bonuses, which will increase our power when in any delve, overcharged or not. This tree also does include a couple of options that will allow you to eventually negate some of the overcharged trap. The currency you need to unlock the upgrades is earned passively just by doing delves, and at least in the PTR, the good news was that there's no sign of a repeat of the time gating that we saw in the Horrific Visions upgrade tree. As an additional little incentive, we're also getting a brand new waste item, the Titan Disc Belt. Similar to patch 1107 Cersei's Circlet, on the PTR this started out at item level 678 and could be upgraded to 694. This was obtained from a quest line which introduces us to the overcharged delves in the upgrade tree, with further upgrades coming from quests most likely once per week. Those upgrade quests also offer a chest with champion gear, some useful currencies and a restored coffer key, and there will be a catch-up mechanism if you miss out any of the weekly quests. The new belt comes with a guaranteed socket which just takes a normal Kazilgar gem along with a special customizable bonus effect which does work outside of Delves. You start out with a choice of 2 different effects, with another 7 that you can collect from running specific delves, and you'll be able to choose which effect is active at any time out of combat. In addition, there's also a brand new mount to earn, the OC91 Chariot, which you earn by unlocking all of the traits in the upgrade tree, along with a new Hearthstone effect that you earn from completing just 4 out of the 6 different Overcharged Delves. The new patch will also see the launch of Battle for Azeroth Timewalking. Yes, after skipping an expansion, we're now getting 2 new expansions worth of Timewalking during the War Within. BfA Timewalking will include Atoll Desire, Freehold, King's Rest, Shrine of the Storm, Temple of Sithralis, and Waycrest Manor. Now, Blizzard is making some changes to the scaling of Timewalking generally, so that better geared characters will now be taking a bit more damage. On the PTR testing, these changes did seem to be pretty minor, and for the most part, all that's likely to do is to slow tanks down just a little bit, maybe increasing the time that a run takes by a couple of minutes. As always, with a new expansion's worth of Timewalking, there's also going to be a new vendor and 2 brand new mounts, the Moonlit Nightsaber and the Ivory Sagemane. And while these 2 mounts are very faction coded, the good news is that they are available to both factions, along with new toys that can transform you into either a Kathir or a Sethrak. BfA Timewalking will also see the return of Turbulent Timeways, which is scheduled to run from June the 17th through to August the 5th. With a rotation, it will include BfA Timewalking twice. Now, it is worth saying that the dungeon rotation announced by Blizzard only has 6 weeks in it, but the PTR calendar has it running for 7 weeks, which obviously doesn't add up, so it's very possible that that end date may change in the future. As with previous versions of Turbulent Timeways, there is going to be a mount, but this time it's something a little bit special. When the Tazavesh Mega Dungeon was announced back in Shadowlands patch 910, we saw Time Captain Hooktail, and I think I wasn't the only person that hoped that she would end up being a mount. Sadly, though, that was not to be until now. Yes, folks, we are finally getting the best mount that never was, with the Chrono Corsair, and something tells me that Timewalking is going to be quite a bit busier than usual this time around. Obtaining this mount does require running at least 4 Timewalking dungeons each week for 5 out of the 6 weeks of the event. Every time that you complete a Timewalking dungeon, you will gain a stack of Knowledge of Timeways, which grants a 5% XP buff per stack and lasts for 2 hours. Gaining up to 4 stacks causes it to turn into Master of Timeways, increasing the buff to 30%, the duration to 2 hours, and granting you your weekly progress towards the mount. While the buff obviously cannot benefit a max level character, it does still get applied to it, so you can earn the mount on the main if you want. And it does also persist through logouts, so you don't have to do it all in one sitting, as long as you make sure that the buff does not time out between runs. The Greedy Emissary was a crossover event which originally celebrated the launch of Diablo 4, and it's making a return. Scheduled to run from July the 1st through to the 31st, this event will see a mini world boss spawn every 30 minutes in Stormwind, Orgrimmar and Donegal. Wowhead have data mined a recolor of the Tyrael's Charger mount, a cross promotion for Diablo 3, which is called Inaris' Charger, and this mount is most likely going to be the reward for this event, along with a bag transmog, recolors of the tier 2 armor sets from the anniversary event, and collectible charms, which award a limited time open world stat buff. Running alongside this event will be the Collector's Bounty event. This will grant increased drop rates from legacy content through Azeroth. Based in PTR testing, this caused older dungeons to drop 1 extra item of loot per boss, with raids dropping 2 items, and works with most content from vanilla through to Shadowlands. One thing that is currently unclear is if this event will also impact the drop rates of mounts from those old instances. And finally, there are 2 new linked user interface updates, along with a very nice quality of life addition. The Combat Assistant is a new option that works very similar to the popular rotational helper add-ons like Hakili, and if enabled, it will display a recommendation of which ability to use next in combat by making the button glow on your bars. This assistant is focused on DPS, It does not generally use tank defensives or healing spells, nor does it use major cooldowns, but in testing in the PTR, the recommendations were for most specializations pretty decent. The other new addition is the single button assistant. This provides a brand new one button ability which will automatically use the recommendation provided by the cooldown assistant. Now this does come with a 0.3 second GCD penalty, so it's unlikely to do better than a highly skilled player would on their main. But again, testing does suggest that it is nevertheless extremely capable. And for people learning a brand new class or who perhaps have some hand or limb issues, this could be a pretty good option, with some testers' prediction that it could be a viable option in heroic raids or mythic plus up to weekly plus 10 key level. And for quality of life, we're all going to be getting a brand new spell called Recuperate, which will enable your character to set out a fire and make their own meal to replenish their lost health anywhere out of combat. And that's it for patch 11.17's new content. Currently, the majority of the new patch content does look like it is set to be available from day one of the launch, the exceptions being the greedy Emissary and Collector's Bounty events. These limited time events do feel like the kind of thing where it does make sense to launch them separately from the main patch, so I don't think that this patch is going to feel quite as time gated as did patch 11.15. But what about all of you? Are you looking forward to diving into those Overcharged Delves, or is it going to be getting the infinite Pirate Dragon mount that's going to be your priority? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you found this update helpful, entertaining, or just plain annoying, then do let me know by hitting that like icon. And if you want to support my channel to grow and help me to make more of these videos along with my other content, then do hit that subscribe button right now before you forget. And if you don't want to miss out whenever I release a new video, then as well as subscribing, you can follow me on social media. My links are in the description down below as well. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.